me, Gail. Gail's got Parkinson's. Today, you catch me in the middle of creating a new pirate game called The Dashing and the Damned. And it's a mixture of all sorts of things, but I want it to be a really good fun skirmish with a bit of a feeling of Pirates of the Caribbean or Zorro, that sort of Buccaneer type atmosphere. It's not going to be super serious, but it's going to be serious enough. So that's the plan. So what I've done at the moment is I came up with a name, first of all. Because I think when you're writing rules, the first thing you've got to do is decide what's the feeling of the rules going to be. Is it going to be historic? Is it going to have a fun element? Do you want the actual game to look like a cinematic, historical event? Do you want the scenery to be really important? Do you want there to be a role-playing element to it? There's all manner of things you've got to consider. And the sort of tactics and the types of troops and so on. Numbers involved. There's lots of things you've got to think about. So I did. There you go. What a surprise. So we started. So I'm going to just show you the scene next, so you can have a quick look at what we've been doing and how it's all developing. If you ignore all the mess at the far end of the table, try and focus on what you can see. This is a sort of a snapshot. It's 3x3, but I'm hoping the game could be played on any size table, and I'm just setting it up for a quick game. I've got a few bits still to paint. I've got some hay ricks, some corn things. In the distance, in the far corner, is the plantation. Next to it is the church of St Francis. I've got a couple of gravestones to pop in there. And we've got the house of the overseer in the middle. You can actually see the overseer's just receiving some documents from one of his runners. The slave village in the distance. There's a warehouse. There is the sugar plantation factory right in front of you. And then next to the wagon that's trundling in is the sort of big house of the owner of the farm. It's a French farm, 1680. I've got the peasants, the slaves working away with the owner's militia and his overseer, keeping everything in order. Some things are in buildings, some loot, some treasure, some things to find. And then that's going to be where my pirates are going to come in and have a look through, see what they can find. And so my pirate crew have arrived. I've not done anything to the ship yet, you'll notice. It's got to be painted, put together, but my pirates are starting to land. Now, all over the board are little white cards. And those little white cards are unit cards. And once they've been finished, they'll be put in a pack and shuffled up. And that's how the turn sequence will be decided. And when your card comes out, if it says Sailors of the Black Dog, which is my ship, whoever's commanding them will get that card, and it'll tell you everything. Ranges, distances, everything you need to know. And then it goes back in and until they're all been dealt out, or until a card comes out of the event pack that says end turn. In which case, even if you've not had a turn, everything goes back in the pack, gets shuffled up, we start again. So the idea of the game is every unit will be categorised. A, which will not be elite, but they'll be the sort of ruling classes. They think they're elite. Then B class, who are trained, like my sailors are trained. The French infantry, who might appear in this game, are trained. They're B class. C class are other troops who are happy to fight, but they're not drilled. They can't go into specific formations like volley fire for lines and get extra dice and things. And then there's sort of scum, who are basically cross, drunk, no scruples, outlaws, and they're just going to run around, I suspect, and hurt people. I've given each a leadership, and I've based the leadership on an average dice. So I've thrown an average dice for each unit, except for the fanatics. And for the fanatics, I've thrown a D10, because to pass leadership, you've got to get the score of the leadership or less. Now, that means the fanatics could get a 0 on a D10. So I'm going to give +1 to... I'm going to give +1 to the B class, nothing to C class, -1 to D class, F class will be a D10, and the so-called elite, it will vary, because although the unit cards are for the whole unit, units are a maximum of 8. So when my sailors come out, that's 8 men. And wherever they are on the field, they don't have to be together, they do their actions. They can split up, they can go all over the place, but when the sailors come out, all the sailors get to do something. But the character figures all have their own sheet, their own cards. So Sir Pelham Cardew has his own card. Benjamin Snips, the doctor, has his own card. So I don't quite know how that's going to work. It's not something I've ever done before, but we'll see. Because you could have a sailor 5 feet away from his next sailor, but it's when it's their turn, it's their turn. I think it'll give it a sort of chaotic running around the village, nobody quite knowing what's happening feel. That's my plan. Everybody gets 2 actions, and the actions are move, shoot, reload. That's it, I think. So you could move twice. So there's no charge, because moving twice would be charging. You could shoot and reload. You could shoot and run, but you're not reloaded. So you've got 2 actions. Anyway, however you want to take them. And you can climb over things, you can hide in things, you duck behind things. If you're looking in a building for things, there's a searching. My different characters have different ability levels, and that's a bit sort of... Is that fluff on me? It is. Thought it were on the lens. Sorry about that. I've got a fluff. It's a bit Dungeons and Dragons RPG, really. Like, my captain is based on David Tennant's playing of Casanova years ago. So he's great charisma with the ladies. So a bit like Dungeons and Dragons, he has a charisma test, and if he's addressing ladies, he can pass that more easily than if he's talking to chaps. People who are good at searching, trackers who are good at looking for tracks, have a way of looking for tracks which is based on that. With people going to buildings, again, it's sort of based around charisma and leadership, and intelligence. So idiots and scum going into buildings, not really searching nicely. They are being fairly unpleasant if they're going to the church. But the better class of troops might be searching for a better class of loot. They might realise that actually taking the priests hostage is worth more than wiping your bum on some ancient parchment, which, these dirty dogs might not bother about. So there's an element of that. But equally then, if Sir Pelham Cardew is within 6 inches of a bunch of scum, he takes precedent. So they do what he says, unless he fails leadership, in which case he's in all sorts of trouble, because he's then got to subdue his own scum, or his leadership goes down. And if it gets to 0, he can't be captain anymore. He could have a mutiny. So I don't really know how it's going to pan out. We're hoping to... I'm making the cards at the moment. I'm just seeing if there's any gaps. Writing up the rules. Trying to decide whether I need a loot and a treasure chart. Looking at wounds and things like that. I haven't done any of that yet. But it's going to be fairly simple. What I'm thinking is... named characters, I'll use a quite complex injury chart, so we'll know instantly how they are the moment they're shot or stabbed. Ordinary people, take them off, a bit like Stargrave, Frostgrave, and then at the end of the game you'll be able to dice for them, and we'll know whether they're out the game or whether they come back or whether they have a permanent injury. And we'll then use our money, which hopefully we loot, to buy more crew, improve the ship, improve the settlement, whatever. Just generally have larks. Might buy a calico shirt. You never know. So, yeah, that's where I'm up to. Writing rules. I didn't have anything written down when I started. I just thought, what sort of game do I want to play? We're going to play it, I'm hoping, in about 4 days. And I shall obviously make a video of that. So, watch this space. And if I get to a point where it's finished, I might try it, just me and you, before we play it with one of the guys from the club, just how it pans out. And then if you like it, you can pinch it. My only stipulation would be, do call it whatever I called it. Hang on a minute. What have I called it? The Dashing and the Damned. Galen's got Parkinson's. All right. Have a great one. I'll see you soon. Ta-ra, men. Cheers. Bye. I didn't say it. Ta-ra, Chuck.